I opened the door to my lake cabin one Friday afternoon and found a teenager standing there, mirrored sunglasses, Bluetooth speaker in one hand, and a six-pack of White Claw in the other. He couldn't have been older than 17. Man bun defying gravity, vape pen tucked behind his ear like a pencil. "You gotta leave," he said, adjusting his sunglasses, despite standing in the shade. "Mom said I can use this place for my graduation rager. You've had it long enough." I blinked twice, certain I'd misheard. "Excuse me? You're serious?" He smirked, flashing a mouthful of freshly whitened teeth. "You should have RSVP'd to the HOA party list, dude. It's my turn now." I stared at him, the kind of supreme confidence only possible when you've never faced real consequences. "And your mother is Brenda Fitzgerald, HOA president?" I asked. "Yup," he said, gesturing vaguely at the woods. "She runs the whole place. So yeah, clear out by 6. We've got a DJ coming." 30 minutes later, the party was shut down by 8 squad cars, 2 K9 units, and 1 boat patrol. Because I wasn't just the owner of that cabin, I was Chief Daniel Morrison of the Silver Ridge County Police Department. And that kid? He just made the biggest mistake of his life. Let's rewind. I bought that lakeside cabin in Pine Valley Estates 3 years ago after my divorce. It was my retreat. Fishing, reading, no paperwork, no stress. Pine Valley was a gated HOA community with rules for everything from mailbox colors to bird feeders. I chose a cabin at the edge of the property, quiet, private, tucked between tall pines overlooking Crystal Lake. Best of all, no one knew who I really was. Just Dan, the quiet guy who brought his trash bins in on time. Then came Brenda Fitzgerald, queen of the HOA, ruler of rulebooks, and mother to Tyler, the kid who just tried to hijack my property. Brenda was the kind of person who measured grass with a ruler and sent citations for overly melodic wind chimes. I stayed off her radar until Tyler stumbled upon my cabin while paddleboarding with his buddies. Apparently, he thought it'd be the perfect spot for his senior send-off. Brenda agreed, talking about community property utilization like it was some legal doctrine. It started 2 weeks before the confrontation. Her first email was gentle, asking if I'd finished enjoying my cabin for the season. "Wouldn't it be nice to share the lakefront blessing?" she wrote. I declined, politely. Told her I use it year-round. Her second email wasn't as polite. She claimed the HOA was drafting a new community cabin rotation policy. Attached was a laughably bad document. It looked like it was made in Microsoft Paint. I ignored it. Mistake number 1. The following week, I got a letter on HOA letterhead. Formal looking, listing my cabin as the venue for Youth Appreciation Weekend. Tyler's graduation bash was the opening act. Signed by Brenda and 2 board members I'd never heard of. I replied with a firm, legal email, citing actual property law. Private property stays private, even in an HOA. I thought that'd be the end of it. It wasn't. Tyler started showing up when I wasn't there. My trail cam caught him taking selfies on my dock, posing with my kayak, even trying to jimmy open my shed. He posted the photos with captions like, "Scouting the venue," and "This place, 'bout to be lit." Then came the phone call. Thursday night. Brenda's voice was sugar-sweet. "Dan, I really think you're being unreasonable. These kids deserve to celebrate. Don't you remember being young?" "I remember respecting other people's property," I replied. She sighed like I was the unreasonable one. "Well, I tried the nice way. The HOA has broad powers to protect community wellness. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." "Is that a threat, Brenda?" "I'm simply informing you of your obligations." Then she hung up. Which brings us back to Friday. I took a half day off work, gut telling me something was off. Good thing I did. When I arrived, the gate was open, the lock cut, and plastic tiki torches were jammed into the lawn. Inside? Chaos. Neon lights hung from my ceiling. My living room had been turned into a party zone. Beer pong table center stage. Glow sticks duct taped to my mounted base. My kitchen? Bursting with red Solo cups, snack bags, and enough booze to stock a frat house. The kid was even wearing my lucky fishing hat, the one my grandfather gave me. That was the final straw. After Tyler had the audacity to tell me to leave my own cabin, I calmly stepped onto the porch and made a call. Hey Richardson, it's Morrison. I need units at my cabin in Pine Valley. We've got a B&E in progress. Underage drinking. Possible theft. Full response, Chief? Or low-key? I glanced at Tyler, now doing a TikTok dance on my deck like this was a joke. Negative. Light them up. 20 minutes later, the woods exploded with flashing lights and sirens. Squad cars flew down the narrow road, K9 is barking, music cut off mid-beat. Teenagers scattered like roaches in the light. Tyler tried to run, tripped over his own flip-flops. He dove into my canoe thinking he could hide, but forgot one detail. Canoes float. He drifted into the lake, where Officer Martinez was already waiting in the department's boat. I want my mom. Tyler screamed, soaked and shivering. Don't worry, Martinez replied with a grin. We're calling her now. 15 minutes later, Brenda Fitzgerald came screeching up in her white Range Rover, horn blaring. She leapt out in yoga pants and a Live Laugh Love t-shirt, her face beet red. What is the meaning of this? She shrieked, storming toward the nearest officer. This is an HOA-sanctioned event. I demand you leave this property immediately. That's when I stepped out from behind a squad car, in full uniform. I'd kept my chief's gear in the cabin closet for emergencies. This was one. Brenda's face drained of color. But you said you just worked for the county. I do, I said. I just never told you in what capacity. This is entrapment, she sputtered. You lied about your identity. No, I just didn't broadcast it. Unlike your son, who advertised his break-in all over social media. I held up my phone, showing screenshots of Tyler's posts. He even tagged the location. Officer Chan approached, Tyler in cuffs. The kid's man bun had wilted. His designer sunglasses were cracked. Mom, he begged, tell them about the community property thing. Brenda tried to salvage it. The HOA has an easement on all lakefront properties for community use. Oh really? I said, pulling up the bylaws on my phone. Because I'm looking at the official HOA documents right now, and I don't see anything about property seizure. I do see multiple clauses about respecting private property rights. Lieutenant Walker stepped forward with a clipboard. Chief, we cataloged enough alcohol in there for 100 minors. He even had a spreadsheet with cover charges. Looks like he planned to make a serious profit. That's entrepreneurship, Brenda said weakly. That's contributing to the delinquency of minors, I corrected. And since you facilitated the whole thing, even threatened me, that makes you an accessory. Brenda's voice cracked. I want a lawyer. Great idea, I said. You'll need one for the criminal charges, and the civil suit I'll be filing for property damage. I gestured toward the mounted base above my fireplace, still draped in glow sticks. That fish was caught by my father in 1987. Neighbors had gathered by now, drawn by the sirens. I heard someone whisper, I told you Brenda was out of control, and wait till the rest of the board hears about this. Tyler was placed in the back of a squad car, charged with breaking and entering, trespass, underage drinking, and theft. That last one for my grandfather's hat, which was thankfully recovered. Brenda? She was issued citations for enabling trespass and contributing to the delinquency of minors. Officer Chan handed them over as she muttered that it was all a misunderstanding. No, I told her. The real misunderstanding is thinking you could bully people into giving up their property and using your son to do your dirty work. That's going to make a great headline at the next HOA meeting. And sure enough, by Saturday morning, news had spread like wildfire. An emergency HOA board meeting was called. I attended, in uniform, flash drive in hand, loaded with security footage from my hidden cabin cams. The meeting was standing room only, held in the community center. Brenda sat at the board table, flanked by her usual allies, both of whom now looked very interested in their phones. Brenda's voice was barely above a whisper. I call this meeting to order. Motion to amend the agenda, shouted Robert Jameson, a retired attorney from near the golf course. Add a discussion of the president's recent criminal activities. Brenda snapped. That's not how this works. Actually, Robert said. Robert calmly pulled out his own copy of the HOA bylaws. Section 12.4, he read, states that any board member facing criminal charges must step down immediately pending resolution. Those are just citations, Brenda snapped. I stood. Would the board like to see footage of the president's son breaking into my cabin? Or maybe the text messages where she threatened to use HOA power to force me out? The room erupted. Neighbors I'd never spoken to suddenly started sharing their own stories. Brenda fining someone for using the wrong shade of beige curtains, trying to ban bird feeders because they attracted undesirable wildlife. Motion to remove Brenda Fitzgerald as HOA president, someone shouted. Seconded, came multiple voices. The vote was unanimous, except for Brenda. Even her two usual allies voted against her, clearly trying to save face. You can't do this, Brenda cried, standing so fast her chair toppled. I've been president for 5 years. This community needs me. What this community needs, Robert replied calmly, is leadership that respects the law and its residents. Brenda grabbed her purse and stormed toward the exit. At the door, she spun around for one last jab. You'll all regret this when your property values plummet. I didn't miss a beat. The only thing plummeting is your son's college prospects after this arrest record. She slammed the door so hard, the welcome sign fell off. The next few weeks were eventful. Tyler pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges. He got 6 months probation, 100 hours of community service, and was ordered to pay me $2,000 in restitution. The judge also made him write a 5-page essay on property rights. Brenda didn't escape either. The charge for contributing to the delinquency of minors stuck. She was hit with steep fines and ordered to complete parenting classes. Several homeowners filed civil suits against her, uncovering years of abuse of power during the investigation into my case. Turns out, she'd been using her HOA position to funnel clients into Pine Valley, padding her own commissions. That got her fired from her real estate job. Her license? Suspended pending an ethics probe. But the real bombshell came when the new HOA board launched a forensic audit. They discovered she'd been using HOA funds for personal luxuries, disguising them as community projects. Those vision board retreats? Spa weekends for her and her friends. She was charged with embezzlement, a Class D felony. Up to 5 years in prison. At her arraignment, she claimed it was a misunderstanding, that she planned to pay it back. The judge wasn't amused. Mrs. Fitzgerald, he said, you stole $47,000 over 3 years. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a pattern. She was released on bail pending trial. But her Range Rover was repossessed. Her house was listed for sale. Tyler transferred to public school his senior year. I saw her once more, in the grocery store. No makeup. Sweatpants. Hair tied back. A far cry from her usual designer outfits. She spotted me and turned to leave, then stopped. I hope you're happy, she said, bitterness dripping from her voice. You destroyed my life over a stupid party. No, Brenda, I replied. You destroyed your life. I just refuse to be one of your victims. She started to say something, then slumped. 5 years, she muttered. My lawyer says I could get 5 years. I felt a flicker of pity, until I remembered the $47,000 she stole, the businesses she harassed, and the neighbors she bullied. Actions have consequences, I said simply, and continued with my shopping. The trial concluded last month. Brenda Fitzgerald was convicted of embezzlement and sentenced to 3 years in state prison, 2 suspended. She'll serve 1 year, followed by 5 years probation and full restitution to the HOA. Tyler watched as his mother was led away in handcuffs, the reality of consequences finally sinking in. That smug, entitled teenager who tried to steal my cabin? Gone. Replaced by a quiet young man who now stocks shelves at a local hardware store, working to pay back what he owes. As for me, I still have my cabin. Now with upgraded locks. More cameras. And a lot more peace. The new HOA board? Transparent. Focused on real community improvement. They even offered to reimburse me from the recovered embezzled funds. I declined. Tyler's restitution was enough. So was the peace of mind. Sometimes I sit on my dock, fishing rod in hand, and think about how differently this all could have gone if Brenda had just accepted the word no. But she didn't. And now she's learning about property rights the hard way, from a 6x8 cell where no one cares that she used to be HOA president. Her tears, when the judge announced her sentence, were the last thing anyone saw before the bailiffs led her away.